Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the third chapter. If you are listening to this, it means that you have made it through both the truths and the troubles, and now we are in the final chapter, the trials. This is going to be structurally very similar to the previous chapter. However, now we are going to be facing things having grown a lot, having matured, and also with a little bit higher stakes. As you'll see, there is a span of cards along the bottom. Those are all of the cards in value order, with aces at the bottom and kings at the top. This is our challenge deck. We will start with the aces and we'll work our way through. The game is structurally the same as you saw in the last chapter. We have each gone our separate ways. However, narratively, these are sort of moments that are further and further apart of us coming together again in order to solve problems. Kind of like these are our reunion moments, you know? Like It's less like we are like solving things all the time as a coven, but more like we are coming together periodically. And like these are the moments when we get to see each other again. There is a new thing you get to do in addition to doing a folly or solving a problem. You can also learn from the past. You explain how the challenge presents you with an opportunity to repeat one of your follies, and then you alter the pattern this time around, and you cross out that folly and recover a stricken source. You cannot recover a blackened source still. You can recover a stricken source. This does not solve the challenge. This is just another thing you can do instead of doing a folly. Note, we are going to still need wisdom cards. Wisdom cards are very important for the last little bit. So hold on to your, still keep your wisdom cards valuable things, but also know that you can strike out follies and recover stricken sources. So without further ado, let's jump right into this. Our first card that we are facing is the Ace of Swords, which is for me to read. Oh, Jesus. Okay, great. Right off the goddamn bat. Yeah. One of the kingdom's leaders has died under mysterious circumstances. Strike them out and worsen the kingdom's ignorance as conspiracies and accusations run wild. The pure heart will tell us who died, and the wild spirit will tell us the likeliest culprit. Can we solve the crime before stray fingers begin to point to the coven? So, Charlie, who died?
Oh, you know who died. It's the Serpentine, baby.
It is the Serpentine. Yep. Also note that because our ignorance is worse, one of the sanctuary's friends is now being harassed daily, which is going to be Yarrow, 100% Yarrow.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. The autocrat gentles. Yeah.
Jeeyon, Tamsin. Who is the likeliest culprit for who killed the Serpentine?
I think that it might be autocrat gentle.
I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely imagine the Serpentine just I've been staying in their weird mountain, their weird mountain sanctuary with I've got this image of this enormous flat thing at the top of it where they will gather when the sun is at its peak and do their weird ritual stuff. And I don't normally partake in the rituals, obviously, because I'm there as effectively an advisor, but I occasionally will sit up there while they do their stuff. And one day I went up there and they were just all dead, bodies, kind of fragile bodies strewn across the rocks, just blood stained the ritual, the ritual altar. And yeah, what do we do? How do we? I absolutely reach out to the two of you.
How do you reach
actually
out?
No, I don't think I reach out to the two of you. I think you just hear about it and I'm in trouble.
But basically the Serpentine is dead and it's a bad situation for Minerva because they are in the midst of this chaos.
Yeah, they were working for the Serpentine and now the Serpentine is dead and abruptly there's a power vacuum and also
I think this is like, I think that Charlie would reach out to Minerva right away and be like, we knew this day was coming, because like the Serpentine is the authority that, for all of their faults, was keeping an uneasy peace here. And now Autocrat Gentle, who is poised to profit most from anarchy, destruction, and chaos, is like this was the play. Like, we always knew it was going to come to a head where Gentle felt like she was holding enough cards to get away with this, and that day has come.
So I think I'm gonna maybe just do a folly. So I need some wisdom cards. I'm going to fail to act until it's too late. I'm going to withhold vital information from my coven mates, which is, I do not tell you this has happened. I do not tell you that I found it, and I do not tell you that I don't think it was Autocrat Gentle. But I'm like there with you. Like, I'm like, that makes sense. But I do not think it was Autocrat Gentle.
I'm down to solve this, Tamsin, if you want to take a folly.
Sure, yeah. I will underestimate the problem. I think there is a part of me that misses Minerva a lot and also resents them. I resent their absence. I resent them being the first to break the coven. And also, I'm busy. I think my first child, the Ascendant God, is a really spirited and cheerfully chaotic, like 3-year-old. I think that maybe Artemisia and I are due for our second child. I think maybe I'm pregnant. And I'm just busy. That prosaic life that I wanted, it's happening, and it's happening in spades, and I really love it. And so it's very easy for me to sort of brush off these problems of the state, these lofty things that Minerva chose. I absolutely underestimate it. So do I choose the leftmost card? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, the leftmost card. Yeah, just pick it up.
Oh, that was not what I wanted. Okay.
Awesome. Your girl Charlie gonna keep doing what she's doing and solve this with true magic.
Also important to note, I was gonna say, if you weren't solving this with true magic, it would take 9 to beat, but yes, go for it.
Gotcha. Yes, that makes sense, because our ignorance is so bad. So those
yes.
Charlie gonna solve this with some true magic. It has been years. I think Charlie started this game when she was 21. How many years do we think have elapsed by now? How old are all of us?
Gotta be at least 5, right?
Say about 6.
Yeah, 6 sounds right.
Charlie,
I think Minerva is in their late 30s.
Charlie's 27. Charlie's not lovely anymore. She a lot of her loveliness was because she always got to play good cop, because Tamsin or Minerva would come in and play bad cop. She lost that, and does not regret or look back on the loveliness lost. You can tell that like, if she doesn't get a coven back at some point in her life, she's going to be that solitary old witch. You know what I mean? Like,
and
the true magic she solves it with is, she knows that this panic will die down if people just have time. So there is about a half a year where the entire archipelago, she uses air and gravity magic. The sea is full of maelstroms and whirlpools. Storms rock every coast. No island can launch ships. It's like, oh, cool, you're scared, you're mad, someone wants to launch a war, great, nobody can go anywhere.
Oh my god.
And let every baron, lord, and leader try to just keep their people fed and from insurrecting until cooler heads prevail.
I would like to note that all you are now is you on the surface you are healthy, you have love for all things that grow, and deep down you are angry and stronger than you think, and that is terrifying.
I think Charlie has become terrifying. Hey, also, you forgot on the surface I am also drained. So
Sorry, thank you. On the surface you are drained and healthy. Jesus
imagine
Christ.
a drained and healthy person. How scary that is.
That's the worst thing you could be.
Can I
Yeah.
add a detail here? I think that, can I add a detail?
Yeah.
A quick one. I think that when Artemisia was like, where do you want to build our house? Tamsin actually chose as close to something where the sanctuary was as possible, like a beautiful little coastal plot of land that was fertile, that could grow things, but was close enough to the sea where Artemisia could fish, and like a lot of their bounty would come from the sea. And I think that they've been ruined by these maelstroms. I think that Charlie actually ruined Tamsin's family.
Wow, Jesus.
Yeah, the storm took out all their crops. There are no fish in the cove anymore. The inlets, which used to be abundant, every shell has been shattered. Even the seabirds don't come there anymore.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yikes. Wow. Our next card is the Two of Wands, which is the High Priestess. Me again. All of my predictions of late have been false visions tainted by a flickering menace. Worsen the Underworld's claim over me, and I'll discard a wisdom card. How can we clear the pile of the Underworld from over me and restore my second sight? All right, well, goodbye that wisdom card that I got just a moment ago. Oh, that's very bad that that it is all that my visions are getting less accurate, because I'm like, that kind of makes sense considering like I definitely was working there because of my visions, and so with the loss of that. Oh, I have also learned the Underworld ruler's weaknesses and limits. Write them, and then from now on, wands are +1 to being a challenge. So this wand will take 9 to beat, and the all hands weaknesses. Weakness is fire from the sun.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I think in the last challenge, Charlie didn't reach out to Tamsin at all and only reached out to Minerva briefly to be like, hey, I know this is going on. And I think just looking at this challenge, new Charlie without love for her friends is like, this is a Minerva problem. They've got it. They can use true magic to cover this if they want. They're wise. They're the old soul. Like, they got it. And I'm going to, as a folly, trying to think what this is.
Are you being thwarted by your own inexperience?
Yeah, I think I'm being thwarted by my own inexperience. Yeah, I think so.
We need 9 to solve this with
We
wisdom?
need 9 to solve this. Yep.
I do not have that.
So here's the thing: is I need wisdom cards badly. So I'm going to do a folly about this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I am going to what do you call? I'm going to fail to act until it's too late, because I just have been just kind of ignoring my own visions and like not really like focus. Like I've just been kind of like, yes, they're wrong. Yes, of course they're wrong. Like I'm stressed out. I'm depressed. I know that, and I've just been kind of ignoring it. And then as it's been getting worse and worse, the shadows have been growing longer, and I've just been kind of getting sunk into that like obsessive headspace where I'm just checking the no longer ospreys, because there are no ospreys on the Serpentine's old island, but I'm checking the seagulls, and the pigeons. And they're not revealing what I need to learn, and the falcons, and I'm not learning what I need to learn.
So I would love an opportunity to use true magic.
Yeah.
I think that, I think in many ways in Artemisia, I found like a real partner, like a mate for life. We're both resilient. We're both adaptable. You can try to lay land bare, but it's always going to spring back in one way or another. It takes so so much to really blast wasteland into the ecosystem. And our family's like that too. We've been weathering the storm. The ruined coast is starting to come back to life a little, and we've just had to make do. There is a sort of grim pride in how much my family is able to adapt. But I also, there is a part of me that wonders to what degree the two of you have failed. Because if things were in balance, both of you were pulling your weight, this wouldn't have happened. And I'm in my, gosh, it's been 6 years. I was like 25. So I'm in my very early 30s. I've just turned 30 or 31. So I'm still fairly young, but a lot of it has been tempered just with family life and with time. But that inclination to ire is still there, and it's been honed to a razor's edge due to recent troubles and just being a parent and being the head of a household. And I think the next night after news of the Serpentine Court's upheaval and failings, and especially its court augur Minerva, and how they have prophesied falsely yet again, that night I put my children to bed. Artemisia is asleep, and I wait until the moon is overhead, and I summon my sword to me the way that I have in the past, and I cut a hole through the seam of dreaming into your dreams and Charlie's dreams. With your permission, of course. I can narrate out the scene.
Yes, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. I think whatever dreams you are having, they are rudely interrupted by a 4 or 5 month pregnant Tamsin coming in like her house apron and a flaming sword, like squeezing her way in through this seam into your dream world, and just locking eyes with both of you and saying, "Get it together," and then leaving the same way that she came.
Oh my God.
Hell yeah. I love that.
Fuck yeah. So what are you striking?
I am going to strike I think I'm going to strike Invincible.
Really? Wow. I was expecting you to strike your love for your friend, or that you fight for your friends, but yeah, wow.
Love that.
Love that.
I don't know what Tamsin sees in Minerva's dreamscape. Charlie's dreamscape is completely blank. It is like it is the sleep of like death. It's that like wake up in the morning bleary-eyed and don't remember a thing you've dreamed. Oh, very fucking cool.
Minerva was having a dream about being a princess in a tower. Our next card is the 3 of Pentacles, which is the Sun. Me again. Okay. Part of the sanctuary has fallen into disrepair. It sure fucking has. Strike a resource or wonder from the sanctuary and describe how it has collapsed, flooded, or been infested to the point of destruction. The damage is threatening to spread to the rest of our home. How can we keep the place from falling down around Charlie's ears? I am going to take away I think that perhaps the only appropriate thing to take away based on Charlie's behavior is safe shelter for the lost.
Oh, fuck off. Oh, no. No.
You are not playing.
I am not playing. I am not goofing around.
No living spaces, no safe shelter for the lost.
All it has is some money, some livestock, and an observatory tower.
You're just turning into Scrooge. No, you're turning into Minerva. Like, without their power, without their scrying.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Solitude.
So note that this will also, because poverty is a little bit worse, this would take 12 to beat if we choose to beat it with wisdom.
Okay.
Cool. Also, very important to note, this is a very important thing to note, is that because this deck is in order from lowest to highest, the higher cards are going to take more wisdom to beat, so we're probably going to need to use true magic, and we want to save wisdom cards to the very end.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent strategy.
Yeah, just I want to make that very clear that we might want to be using true magic a bit more in later, so we want to be cautious.
What is learning from the past again?
That is where you would have made a folly. Instead, you don't. You cross it out and you delete. You unstrike a source. So you get to eliminate one of your follies and unstrike a source.
Cool.
As you learn from the past. It does not solve the problem. It is just a way to make you feel better.
Oh, it doesn't solve this. So we would fail if we don't solve it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's the same. It's like the same as taking a folly, but gotcha.
But instead of getting a wisdom card, you are making yourself feel a little better and like getting back some source. It's the character development move, you know? Like if we're coasting high on wisdom cards, which we are not, it is.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I feel like I should solve this because so we want to do more true magic later, correct?
Yeah.
And right now this is a 3, which means it's actually a
it is a 4, so it'll take 12 to beat.
Okay. It'll take 12 to beat.
Yes.
To beat it with wisdom.
Yes. So here's the thing also though, Charlie, is are you the person to solve this is what I'm curious about, because it's the sanctuary you're in that has fallen into disrepair, but are you the person who can help it?
Maybe not.
If the answer is yes, I'm down for the answer to be yes. I'm just,
Well, I'm just trying to think of who else would even know that the sanctuary was fucked up.
That's true. That's true.
Like I think maybe I'm not the one to fix it. This could be a failed challenge, or I could maybe I just go sulk in frustration or humiliation.
Yeah.
I think I'll do that. I think I'm going to sulk in frustration and humiliation. I think it's falling apart. I didn't fix it, and I'm fucking bummed.
Tamsin, do you want me to solve this, or do you?
I think I want you to solve it. I want to try playing learn from your mistakes or learn from the past.
Cool.
And I think, let's see. I think this is in the past. I would have done more harm than good, or like underestimated the problem or act impulsively. I would have reacted to what's going on. I think what happens is maybe after going into Charlie's dream, Tamsin has been reminded of the coven and like how good it felt to be there. I think she really misses Minerva. Hearing of Minerva's struggles in the court has made her really worry about them. And Minerva also means she's missing Charlie. She's just missing the home that she had, even though she loves her family now. She tells herself that it's for business reasons, but like really it's sentimentalism. I think that she like gathers together the sort of like scant bit of flour that the family has left and like bakes a not great like loaf of bread, like kind of dense and slightly unevenly risen loaf of bread, and packs it in a cloth and goes to the sanctuary to try to extend an olive branch to Charlie. And then she sees the disrepair. She sees how Charlie has been neglecting, and there is a spike of spite and anger where she was like, she thinks to herself, there is one thing, right? There's one thing that Charlie was supposed to do that she excelled at. This is the source of her magic, this hearth magic, this gravity magic. And what is she doing? Has she been squandering this time? And then she just sort of imagines what she might have done when they were still as a coven. And instead what she does, she leaves the bread on the doorstep with a note and knocks on the door and then leaves before Charlie can find her. She hurries down the path. And Charlie, you can say what the note reads.
And what move is this that you're making? Are you learning from the past right now? Or
from the past.
What folly are you crossing out?
I am crossing out, I think I'm going to cross out underestimate the problem.
Awesome.
And what source are you getting back?
I'm going to get back, will listen to reason.
I think that the note that Tamsin writes for Charlie says something really simple and to the point. It's like a knife. It's just something very sharp, and it says something, I think something along the lines of like, I thought that you could use this. And Charlie takes it and weeps and weeps and weeps, which is the first emotion she's felt that has been other than like sort of spite and bitterness in a long time. It's the first time that anybody has ever baked something for her. And she immediately enchants the bread like it's like Zeno's paradox, where there's a ward on it so that she can only ever eat half of whatever is left, because the thought of losing it and having it ever fully go away is more than she can bear.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she just has to do better. And that is what a treasure.
So here's the thing, right? Is that I've got two different ways I could solve this. One way is I could cash in my Emperor and solve this using I can use the Emperor to solve one coins or swords challenge one time. I could also solve this with true magic. And I've been thinking about both of them and what they both could look like. And here's the thing. I'm not going to do either of them. I depart on mysterious business.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry not to be a goddamn monster, but okay. I truly...
You are not sorry at all.
I am actually super sorry.
I'm not sorry at all. Minerva might be sorry, but Jamie is not one fucking bit sorry. I can tell right now.
So we failed it. We failed this challenge?
We just failed it, yeah.
We just failed that challenge, yeah. Yep. So we each either strike a thing from the sanctuary, worsen the kingdom's ignorance, poverty, despair, or worsen the underworld's claim over us. We each choose one.
Ooh, I'm gonna worsen the underworld's claim over me.
Ooh.
Where'd that go?
I am going to take another thing from the sanctuary. I think.
Oh shit. So
I'm gonna take
I didn't know this even existed. So apparently worsening the underworld's claim over me this time around means I've learned the underworld's ruler's strengths and powers, write them below. From now on, add +1 value to the wands challenges.
I did that earlier with the underworld's weaknesses and limits.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, so now the underworld's ruler is the all hands. What is its strength? Because its weakness is fire from the sun.
I think its strength is here, I'll add it here. Strength is that it will never end. It will always exist.
Ooh.
No matter what happens.
Oh God. Yeah, very good. So I have taken away our modest sum of gold. All of what we have left are the ospreys and an observatory tower.
Oh. Hey, Charlie, can I add one thing to that note that I left?
Yes.
On the other side of what I wrote, I left my address to my house.
What's your choice, Charlie?
There's only one thing that hasn't been making sense about why Charlie would be so bitter and spiteful. And the other thing that's going away is Jax is a heroic sailor on the open sea and hasn't come and visited years. Jax, we raised Jax well, and he is he's living his own incredible adventures out on the high seas.
He's Odysseus.
Yeah, he's Odysseus. He's gone, and why would he come back to, you know, he wouldn't come back. He's got his own life to lead. So that's gone as well.
Oh,
Jesus. Wow.
So now this is with no gold or living space. It is just a lonely tower by the sea full of hunting eagles and places where there used to be laughter and company and no longer are.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's
okay, but the eagles are dope.
The eagles are dope. I didn't mean
to rag on the eagles. That's on me. Yeah, certainly.
That part rules. Everything else is very sad, but like, have a little coffee, watch the eagles fuck up a rabbit, like that.
Oh my god,
I love it.
Our next card is the 5 of Coins, which is me again. A friend of the sanctuary, the star will decide whom, has grown increasingly ill of late, and the sickness has so far resisted all of our charms and poultices. The only known cure requires an extraordinary reagent, which is unfortunately under lock and key in an unfriendly merchant's private collection. What can we do for them? So, Star, Charlie, who is sick? Which of our friends is sick? We don't have many friends left. We've got Charlotte, Sepple, we've got Doc, we've got Yarrow.
I'm going to say Charlotte is sick.
No.
Our very sweet old cat is sick.
Jesus.
Star tells the only known cure requires an extraordinary reagent, which is unfortunately under lock and key in an unfriendly merchant's private collection.
Obviously, autocrat
gentle. Right now, that I will personally die for Charlotte. Like fuck all y'all.
True.
Fuck you. Sorry, go ahead.
Under an aristocrat's. And what and is this being made worse by anything? Do we have things that are making coin
yes, it is.
Worse?
It is an 18. It's going to take an 18 to beat.
Okay.
Dang.
I can beat an 18, I believe. Kings and how much are kings and queens? There's something.
Kings and queens are each 13.
Okay. Are each 13, and we need to get an 18. Okay. So Charlie can solve this because she's living with Charlotte, so she can go take care of this. Where's our discard pile right now?
Our discard pile is it is where the 5 of Pentacles currently is hanging out.
Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and solve this with wisdom, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna just follow you real quick about it. I am going. Actually, no, I'm gonna learn from my mistakes real quick. I would normally fail to act until it's too late, but you do, Charlie, you do get a you didn't realize Charlotte was sick until one morning an osprey sort of like pokes at you with like a little bit more like they're smart birds, but this one seems to like be getting your attention and kind of leads you to Charlotte, where like Charlotte has kind of been like because Charlotte doesn't move very much anyway, but now she's like you can see that she's really not doing well, and the osprey like gets your attention about it. And I am now back to being lively. Actually, no. I'm back to being lively. I've reminded myself of why it is worth. What is the point of caring about things?
I think I'll also take a follow so I can take a wisdom card. I am going to act impulsively. Oh wait, no. I don't want to be absent for the next challenge. I will. I think I'll be goaded into making the wrong move. I think there is I don't know. I think Well, that doesn't really make sense. I actually don't know if I can take a folly about this. Why would I even know about Charlotte being sick?
Do you maybe hold on, let me peek. Do you maybe blame the cowardice of one of your coven mates?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think just because for Tamsin, I think because of like she does love Minerva, but it's a different kind of love than she has for Charlie. And I think it's easier to just be like, for all her scrying and all her ability to see forward, she couldn't see that an old cat might get sick in a way that mattered. And I think in that moment, I sort of yet again write Minerva off. In a way it really settles into Tamsin's bones.
Yeah. Oh. Even as Minerva did help.
Oh, that's the thing.
Oh God, yeah.
I love that.
Agonizing. Yeah.
I think the way that Charlie solves this with wisdom is really simple. I think the aristocrat that has these reagents is the aristocrat that we had that adventure with the bull with and the criminal.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I think that Charlie goes to him and explains that, just tells him to his face that the criminal yet lives in the world, and that there were people who hoodwinked him and hoodwinked the aristocrat and bamboozled him and everything else like that, and that we can tell him who was at fault for pulling this trick on him if he gives us these reagents. And when he does, I look him in the eye and say, "It was me."
Yes.
Oh.
And I say, "We did this," and I'm like, knowing of this curse, it is unbreakable as long as the witch who cast it lives. So if you wish to find vengeance, you can come and seek it at my death, which you would have to enact. And then she says, if that is something that you wish to pursue, then all good fortune to what will remain of your lands and fields should you attempt it. And then Charlie leaves.
Wow, we all would die for this cat, apparently.
Yeah, we all truly would. Wow.
Charlie, cool. Yeah, Charlie's different. Charlie's different in these years.
Yes, Charlie has changed. Our next card is the Six of Swords. So I'm moving a little quickly just to make sure we don't run out of time.
Thank you for that.
That is Jeeyon to read.
A number of the kingdom's people have gone missing, including a friend of the sanctuary. I'll choose whom. Investigation reveals that a rogue denizen of the underworld is spiriting them all away to the lands below. Whoever holds the sun will tell us what strange trait all the missing persons have in common, and whoever holds the star will tell us about the denizen itself. Can we recover our friend or the other captives from the realm of mystery? What friends do we even have left?
We have Sepple, we have Doc, we have Yarrow, and we have Charlotte. We no longer have Jax or Artemisia. They are not friends.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna go for it. It's Doc.
Yeah, it's gotta be Doc. Yeah. So what all of these people have in common is they are all people who Tamsin at one point has cared about.
Okay.
They are all people who in some way have impacted your life positively, and they are getting stolen away one by one.
All right. Well,
is that cool? Is that good?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. No. Okay, absolutely.
For sure. Yes.
Angle, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's the all hands itself has done this.
Oh.
I think it is the actual like ruler of the underworld that has done this.
Oh. Damn. Okay. I think this is an appropriate place for me to use true magic. So if either of you disagree, I'm open to hearing it. If either of you want to take a folly or learn from the past,
I'm gonna folly. I'm gonna pretty happily folly. I'm going to withhold vital information from my coven mates, which is that I did not tell you that this was going on. I observed in the stars this was happening. I did not tell you because I wanted to hope to preserve some sort of semblance of balance between the underworld and the kingdom, and I did not tell you.
I'm going to stumble into a contract I don't understand, which is that Sepal Sepal is a friend of the coven, and I assumed would never like would never be more loyal to the underworld than they were to our longstanding friendship, which was foolish. But promised Sepal that I would not act against the all hands in this endeavor.
Oh fuck. All right.
Oh fuck yeah, it's all you.
It's all me. So I would love to pose to the two of you how Tamsin realizes that the common thread is that they're all people that she's cared about.
I think. Do you think by this point you've given birth to your second child?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So your first child old enough to talk?
Yes.
Your
Very
first-
verbal.
One
Yeah.
on like a beautiful afternoon as the coastline is recovering and like a species that you hadn't seen there since like the age of storms, you see them again for the first time, like some kind of like sandpiper bird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your eldest child just looks up at you from playing in the sand and tells you point blank to your face that the underworld is seizing the people that cared about you.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
With no other
Yep. Cool.
with no inclination as to how they know that, with no inclination as to anything else.
Yeah. I think that child's name is Coleman.
Very
And,
good.
I love that.
Coleman just looks up at me and says that I think he has like that kind of that like shock of blonde hair that is not going to hold. It's probably going to be very dark, but it's just because he's very young and we live in the sun and like blazing sun, and he has dark eyes like mine. And when he says it, I just know that it's true. And I look over to my house where Artemisia has our second baby. Let's say her name is Juniper, strapped to his chest as he's repairing and building on top of the scaffold that we already have. And I realize with a shock that the next two people are going to be the two of you.
Oh.
And I tell Coleman to go inside and kiss him on the top of his head and tell him that I love him very much. And I tell him to tell his father and his sister that I love them too. And then when he is gone, I open myself up the way that I have in the past. I'm standing on the shore and the ocean is lapping at my feet. And I tell the ocean, take me where I need to go. And when I open my eyes are black and a path opens before me and the waters part and I walk into shadow, into the underworld. What happens is veiled even to myself, but when I come back, I hold in my hand two small, unassuming stones that make their way to the two of you. I would love to know what the messengers are, how they get to you.
I think the messenger for me is a isopod that appears in my dreams. It's like some weird, long Precambrian like creature that has lived in that like fled to the dreams when its like world died, and you like pulled it out and you sent it to my dreams, and in my dreams, you know, like I was like I was young and at the coven, and I was with the two witches who taught me to be who I am. And the isopod arrives to me and gives me the stone, and I wake up clutching it very firmly in my hands.
Yeah.
And I realize that I need to go back to the sanctuary soon.
For the first time in forever, for no other reason than sentimentality, Charlie opens the door to Tamsin's room, and the rock is waiting on the other side of the threshold for her.
That's perfect.
It's so good.
What Tamsin has given up in order to keep the two of you and anyone else she cares about safe is everyone who's already been taken can never be retrieved.
Jesus.
Whoa.
And I am going to cross out glorious.
You are just strong. On the surface, you are strong, but you are not glorious or invincible.
Whoa.
Jesus. All right, the Seven of Swords. Sorry, the Seven of Wands. Ooh, I was looking at swords. That is very different.
So Doc is gone now?
Doc is gone. Doc is still on our friends list, but that's kind of an interesting question because I feel like maybe we can access her.
Yeah, my thought is that even in dreams or through traveling to the underworld, we could still get to Doc as a friend, but it's like trying to find Eurydice, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah,
love
absolutely.
That. Love that. Cool.
So, Jeeyon, this one's you. Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands.
Oh, and I get +1 to it. Yes.
No. You don't get +1 to it. The +1 is for the card value.
Oh, god damn it. That was the opposite of what I thought it was. Okay.
Nope. It is going to be 7 + 2, so it is going to be 9 times 2, so it'll be 27 to beat this with wisdom.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yes.
That's fine. Whenever I'm alone for any small period of time, I'm attacked by one of my underworld menaces, which appears only to me and which vanishes when others inquire what is wrong. I must discard a wisdom source or else strike a source. I've been staying close to others, but the attacks are becoming increasingly disruptive to our coven's activities and preventing me from sleeping or attending to hygiene. How can I stand on my own again?
Once again, the underworld is a depression thing.
I was going to ask, use the safety mechanic and ask.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
And 1 second. Okay, I thought I heard an alarm going off.
Yeah.
My underworld menaces are.
So this is 24 card value?
No, 27.
Because it's +1. It's because it's +1 because of the claims.
No, it's +2 because Wild Spirit has a claim that did that, and the Old Soul has a claim that did that.
Oh gosh, shit. Okay,
so it is now 20. It is now 9 times 2 is 27. So yeah.
Oh, I forgot to actually underline it. Okay, so my underworld menaces are snaking chains and mazes and veils, and I think it depends on what's going on. I'm not I used to not often be alone, and I'm not usually, but I think maybe Artemisia has taken a real fondness to holding Juniper whenever he's doing like household chores, and I really like that. So he has the baby. Coleman, I think maybe a year has passed and is 4 and is like a really physical, active 4-year-old, and often will run out into the dunes by himself to explore. And so I'll be alone in the house, or out in the water diving. I think I often dive for our food. And I think it's when I dive especially that this happens, because when you free dive, you can train yourself to have lung capacity to go under, 4 minutes, maybe 5 if you're very, very lucky. But it's treacherous. And we live in an area where the water is always like crystalline and beautiful and has utmost clarity. But when I go under, it's like the Pacific. It's like murky and gray, and there's silt everywhere. And the kelp itself will wind. I feel like it winds around me, like chains trying to drag me under. And when I can surface and escape that, and I go down again, it's like I can't find my way. Normally, I can navigate through easily, but I can't make heads or tails of what I'm looking at. And every single time my confusion increases, I think, why bother trying?
I want to solve this one if that's okay. I haven't solved anything in a while.
Yeah, I am going to learn from my past if that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear what Charlie does.
I think, and this is, you're being menaced by the underworld. Oh, I know what folly I do. I plead with the underworld for aid. I know that this is partially related to the fact that Tamsin has protected Minerva and I from the All Hands, and I think I go to the All Hands to make a deal and be like, I didn't ask for Tamsin's protection. You're lashing out to try and destroy her. please take me instead. Please do whatever you need to do that. And the All Hands doesn't have those kind of mortal it's not, that's not why I don't think the All Hands is taking its revenge on Tamsin. This is a cause and effect that is not governed by those human emotions. So yeah, Charlie weepingly pleads with the underworld for aid and receives none. I'm going to take a card.
Very good. Oh, you actually want the card that is sitting right here.
Oh, sorry. I'll bring it
up. Sorry, I started preemptively setting up for the next one. So yes.
Sorry.
No worries. That's on me.
Cool.
All right, Tamsin, how do you learn? Or do you want to learn after I solve it?
Yeah, why don't you solve it? I'm actually curious. Yeah.
So Minerva, after the Serpentine died, they've just been sitting sort of up on that mountaintop, living in like a very tiny, one of those like very small Italian cottages, but it's not like cottagecore style. It's like isolated depression, like surrounded by the ruins of a once mighty like what was once sort of the great palace, the great sort of natural intersection of the sun and the world and like civilization and nature, is now just kind of a ruin that people are already, even though it's only been like a year and a half, 2 years, people are already starting to forget. And Minerva has been staying there, and then finally they just kind of have been like scrying, and they see in the stars, they're like, oh, something is wrong. Something is terribly, horribly wrong, as the stars are one by one blinking out. And they travel. They are in an instant. I'm going to do true magic because I just do not have enough wisdom even now to solve this. And Minerva just does true magic and just arrives many weeks later to Tamsin's home, and sort of like takes Tamsin and I think Minerva gives you the stone that you gave them. And I think the stone that was meant to keep Minerva safe. I no longer see the value in the company of others. Ooh. And I show up and I give you this, and I stay for maybe a couple of days, and you appreciate my presence because I'm actually really enjoying. I'm pretty like lively. It's like nice to hang out with me. There's just clearly kind of like a sardonic, bitter edge that wasn't there before. Yeah. And then I just kind of, you're not sure when I left. I just at a certain point did leave.
Yeah. I think your visit actually lifts the veil, because every time I've gone diving, which I have to feed and sustain myself and my family,
yeah,
it's like the weight of the water has stayed with me every time. Something about because like Minerva, I think Minerva can be like scathingly funny.
Yes.
And I think
yes.
And I think that's one of the things that drew Tamsin to your company. In addition to the tutelage and the magic and the mentorship, just how much I enjoyed.
So fucking much.
Just how much I enjoyed like the diamond's edge of your wit. And there's something about it that just cuts, because Tamsin understands a good cut, right? She moves like it, she operates with it. And so when Minerva just comes in and is like, I'm going to stay with you for a few days. I see you playing with my children, and I see you getting along with Artemisia. And when you leave, you don't leave an absence. And I think something of my old self comes back. I'm going to take back glorious. And the way that I learn from my mistakes is, I think the way that I would have acted in the past is maybe done more harm than good. Like maybe I would have withdrawn and just been like, well, fuck both of you. But instead, I know Coleman's birthday is coming up, and he and Juniper were born very close. Actually, no, I take it back. Juniper's birthday is coming up, her second birthday. And I think in where we live, a baby's second birthday is a big deal. It means they've passed most of their immunities and they're going to live. And no matter how poor you are, you always have a huge fucking party for a baby's second birthday. And I want both of you to be my guests of honor. And I'm going to send you the invitation.
I love that. I also love the thought that like the day of being born is like not a big deal. Like you do not celebrate it because you do not want to invoke the wrath of the underworld. Like the second birthday, that's the
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Yes, absolutely. God, I adore that. So the next card is the Eight of Swords, and that is for Jeeyon to read.
Oh, okay. Me again. Swords. I've been okay. I have been arrested and imprisoned in the castle dungeons. The old soul will tell us of what crimes I stand accused, and the pure heart will tell me whether I am innocent. If we can clear my name or solve my legal standing, we solve this challenge. If I have to break out of here, we fail. So what's the plan?
What do you call the aristocrat who we so long ago screwed over and who has only recently learned of us had risen in the ranks tremendously and was now very much the second to Gentle, and he took her ear and told her that the witches were liars, that they could not be relied upon. And in this time of war, Gentle's greatest fear was not that the witches would betray her, but that the witches would work for someone else without her realizing it. So imprisoning you is the first step to that, right? Like she's imprisoning you first as a way to get you out of the way, and that's the crimes you're accused of. Is that the crime you're accused of is being a witch, effectively.
Yeah.
But if the crime you're accused of is being a witch, you're extremely guilty.
I am extremely guilty. Yeah,
yeah.
It's true.
Okay. So I have two important questions.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, first of all, this is happening after the big second birthday party, right?
Did they crash the second birthday party? Did the cops crash the birthday party?
Did they nab you before the birthday party? Did you miss the birthday party?
Did they take me at the party?
I feel like maybe it was like one of those like Godfather-esque situations where it's like there's the party and then the military shows up.
I think that's what it is. I think there is a ceremony where the baby, because by 2 you're slightly verbal, maybe you're walking. Most kids are. And I think the people who are most central to the family stand in a circle, and they each have something that the baby loves, and each of them also has like a rune on their back on a sign, and each one stands for some kind of fortune, like a benevolent fortune. And the baby, depending on where it toddles to, that's going to be like its path, right? And it's like toddling around. Juniper is like actually pretty active, but the problem is she loves everybody, and so she can't decide. And she's blindfolded, and so she runs right into the knees of the captain of the guard, and he binds me and takes me away, and that's the party.
Jesus Christ. I would like to note, I can solve this by spending my Emperor card. I can cash in my goodwill with the state to make this go away. But I don't know if that's what we want to do. I just want to let you know that I can do that. So we can save that for a later one too.
I can solve this, and this is, what is this? This is 30 because the swords are
yes, this is 30.
I also am tempted to solve it with true magic. So you tell me what you would like to do.
But remember, if you break out of here, you fail the challenge.
Now that's my second. Now here's my two questions. Is the authority that is acting on Tamsin right now this aristocrats, or is the authority, like, I know it's actually autocrat Gentle, but I think it's important for how I think I can solve this. It's important for me to know if this is actually autocrat Gentle acting overtly, or whether the puppet is this aristocrat. What do you guys think?
I think the way I was thinking about it was that it was autocrat Gentle acting overtly, and the aristocrat was the one encouraging her to do it.
Okay.
The unnamed aristocrat.
The unnamed aristocrat. Well, in that case, I don't think I want to solve this. If this had been the aristocrat acting and autocrat gentle had plausible deniability, I would have razed this aristocrat's castle to the ground and had it all swept away in the wind. However, if it's autocrat gentle, I think that's too bold of a move.
Yeah.
Like, I do note that I've got the Emperor. I can cash in the Emperor.
We might want to, like, look at how many cards are left. I think we want to see.
Yeah.
And I am very happy to use True Magic here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Cool.
It will mean we fail the challenge maybe, but I'm okay with that if you're okay with that.
Wait, but if we're, why don't we? But also, in that case, why don't we all just do follies and fail that way?
Okay.
Yeah, because if we think we're gonna fail this either way, we should all do a folly bound and get that.
You're right.
Do we want to fail this one, or I can also potentially solve this, or Minerva can solve it with
I can solve it without. Yeah, I was gonna say I can solve it without needing to spend any resources. Like
it's possible. Like we may hit a higher swords one, or depending on the cards we take, we may not hit a higher swords one.
I'm kind of tempted to do more harm than good here. Also,
that's really good.
Yeah.
Cool. You do more harm than good first, and let's see what you do, and that might make everything else happen.
Okay, here's what happens. The trial occurs. Tamsin is standing before I don't think that a trial for witchcraft in this kingdom even has a jury. I think it's just a matter of the witch stands before the people and they decide
especially because, what do you call it? It's like, this is not like a proper government. This is like an economic,
I'm trying to figure out what the is it I'm going to invoke a safety mechanic here. Is it okay to bring up like methods of execution for witchcraft?
Yeah, I think so.
I think the method of execution for witchcraft, because everyone knows witchcraft exists, right? Like this is the classic injustice of witchcraft. Everyone knows it exists. They go to the witches right up until the point where they turn on them, and the state execution is a weighted cage. They're drowned in the sea. And so they're on the precipice of a cliff, and Tamsin has been found guilty. She is standing at the door of the cage with her hands bound, and the judge is declaring her guilty. Everyone is there. I think the two of you are there. And she walks into the cage, and it's wheeled off the edge of the cliff, and you see it sink. And the second it touches the water, Tamsin's magic is wild, and it is the magic of dreams. And again, as soon as it touches the water, the sea begins to boil on contact, and everyone is instantly flooded in a Devonian sea of chaos and change. It's like watching.
Oh no, you've really done more harm. I don't know if I can emperor us out of that one.
It's like watching 10 million years of evolution occur in like 20 minutes. And there's creatures coming out of the shadows. Everyone can breathe. This is an illusion. They're in a dream. But in that dream, Tamsin's bonds are broken and her hair is floating around her body, and she looks at everyone and she is not human anymore. Something has tipped over. And she tells them that if they want to see this kind of witch, then that is all they will see when they behold her. And I'm going to take my card.
I am going to I think I'm going to God, the thing is, like, I think with every single bone in their body, Minerva wants to solve this, and Minerva was ready to. I think what happened was that, like, Minerva had, like, contacted the underground, like, servants of the Serpentine and, like, was organizing, like, a way to break you out of this, and, like, sort of, like clean it all up, and, like even just, like, like negotiate, was, like, negotiating with Gentle, and then this happened, and Minerva was just like, I can't solve this. So Minerva exclaims their neutrality on this matter and does not get involved, and makes it clear that they are loyal to the state even when they are not.
I am going to first of all, Charlie does not show up at the second birthday party.
Oh shit. Oh my god.
Charlie does not show up at the second birthday party, which obviously is like interrupted by the guards coming. So I think there's probably some pain when Tamsin sees Charlie show up at this like sentencing.
Yeah.
Charlie, when Tamsin sees like that you will behold this witch, and like you are surrounded by like sea and water specifically, Charlie is going to lift herself up off of the dock of like viewers of the gallery of people observing the execution, which is the first time she's flown in a long time. And it does not come from a lightness or levity of spirit anymore. Her limbs shudder because the wind itself is bearing her aloft. This is not gravity magic anymore. She's using like storm and wind magic to lift up. And she is going to join Tamsin in the like, but like you're like in the waves, she's in the air over you, and the cresting of the waves and foam is mixing with the storm overhead. Lightning and thunder crackles. I am going to strike healthy as a source as my eyes sink deeper into my skull. Now the only way I see him on the surface is drained. I am like skeletally safety check-in for body stuff. I think that cool. I think that she has become skeletally thin and like malnourished and looks unwarmed and cold to the touch. She says you've heard my sister speak. If these ancient pig-headed laws of witchcraft are to be enforced, let real witches once again roam these lands. And she dashes their ships on the fucking rocks and flies away with Tamsin from whatever this like imperial island is.
Now we've broken Tamsin out, so we fail the challenge regardless.
Is it? Here's is the wording "I break out"? That's my only question.
Yeah.
So the wording is you break out.
If I have to break out of here. So this is me.
I did not break myself out. This is Charlie whisking me away.
I'm technically rescuing. And I think that I just say like, just, you know, like lightning crackles. My eyes are like pinpoints of light in darkness. And I say,
well, actually, no, hold on. I'm sorry. Because it says if we clear Tamsin's name or solve Tamsin's legal standing, we solve this challenge. And we have done neither of those.
Yeah.
Cool.
True.
So I think we failed.
I think we failed this, yeah.
But like, how beautifully did we fail that, though?
Oh, so beautifully. Also, the heartbreak of Minerva watching this happen and exclaiming their neutrality.
So I guess I'll unstrike that source in that case. So what I want to say is I'm going to take that source back, but because we live on the same island, Tamsin, when I fly us back to this other island in the archipelago where we both live, we haven't exchanged words since I didn't show up at the child's second birthday. Charlie hands you the like glass dish that the metal cooking pan that the bread came in. It is filled with an immaculate loaf of bread with 2 small candles in it, and they're like it is this like sweet nut and fruit filled bread. Charlie hands it to you and says, I don't think I'll ever be able to bake something like this again. And she takes her
what the fuck?
So I realized because I didn't do magic, not only do I not strike healthy, even though I think Charlie has gone full, you know, full crone, has gone full like wickedness. Name check. I'm gonna do learn from the past. I am going to. I know this is like a big one. I think I actually want your guys' input on this. I think this makes the most sense, but feel free to call me on it. I think Charlie will never sulk in frustration or humiliation again.
That makes sense.
I
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah, that makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
She's a person who goes and does it now.
Yeah.
And of course
Totally do it.
the thing she gets back is love for her friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Very sweet.
that's really good.
Our next challenge is the Nine of Pentacles, which is 9 coins. Oh, wait, sorry. First, we have to fail that challenge real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I think my choice is going to be I'm going to worsen the kingdom's ignorance. I think we gotta. That adds a witch hunter to the kingdom's leaders.
Fuck.
Like, I think that is
Damn
goddamn required.
Yeah.
I think the witch hunter's name is I think their name is sorry, I think her name is Polyphena. And she is a what do you call? She is one of those just absolutely very like she's one of those like she was one of the mercenary warriors who like resolved ritual combat back in the day, but now she is just this like anti-magic warrior who is like suspected of having slaughtered the who's suspected of having slaughtered the Serpentine, and it's just this like incredibly effective like wielding like a whip and a shield gladiator and like a net gladiator style, like with a black Greek helmet with the plume. I think that's her whole vibe.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I know what else is going.
What?
Yarrow is gone. I mean, we made her choose between her mother and us. And
yeah, she's gone.
Yeah.
That's
no way.
Yeah, we only have three. Yeah.
There's just no coming back. I just think it's like she may have liked us, but that display from her mother putting Tamsin in that position, but then also B, like Charlie and Tamsin's response to that is like, you got to pick a side at that point, and she's not going to disown her mom.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So,
Jeeyon, what? It was just legit terrifying. Like even our friends.
Yeah. No, that is scary as shit.
Like, mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Jeeyon, what are you gonna strike?
I think I'm going to strike. I'm gonna strike despair.
Ooh, yeah.
What I wanted to do.
Cross out a national joy.
So where are the national joys?
They're grandiose palace, a kind of gentle sea, a ubiquitous national animal, which is the squirrel, and many silly holidays.
I think I mean, many silly holidays seems like the natural one to strike out, because with this climate of suddenly witchcraft is now no longer a joy. I think maybe many of our silly holidays were around witchcraft, right? Like witches would bless your animals and they would do silly things, or like witches would come and like charm your garden and they would grow ridiculous like party favors. And now it's all been forbidden. And it's not only been forbidden, but it is a marker of sin. And so there
are no longer silly holidays. That's really good. All right, so our next card is the Nine of Pentacles, which is for me to read. A tricksy denizen has been smuggling underworld liquor into the kingdom and selling it to mortals. The wild spirit tells us what they taste like, and the pure heart will tell us of their terrible side effects. Worst of all, once drunk on these spirits, a mortal never sobers. So how can we prevent the kingdom from becoming a stumbling mess? Oh, that's sweet.
Incredible.
So Tamsin, what does the magical liquor taste like?
The first time that any one person smelled something and thought to themselves, God, that just smells so fucking good. Yeah. That's what it tastes like, whatever that was.
Yeah. And Charlie, what is the terrible side effects?
Sorry, what does it taste like again? I'm so sorry.
It tastes like the first time you realize something could just smell utterly goddamn delicious, whatever it was.
The terrible side effect is people who drink it can never change their opinion about things from the first blush opinion they have of it. Whatever
in
their
addition
first,
to always being drunk.
in addition to always being drunk, the terrible side effect is they're like, whatever my first thing, like literally, like you told me the name of a book, and before you could describe it, I already, that whatever my first thing based on the title was, that's how I feel about it forever.
Wow. Drunk and stubborn is a combination that really needs to
Needs to
donkeys. Everyone just turned into a donkey, is what I'm hearing.
100%.
Perfect.
Yeah, this requires 30 to solve. I can just solve this with Emperor. I can cash in my Emperor now if we want.
I can dig that. You still got it in good because you claimed neutrality. This might be the last time it makes sense for you to use this card.
Yeah, I was gonna say it does feel like I gotta take it back at some point.
Yeah,
like they're not gonna let this slide for long. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be doing a folly. I'm going to escalate the hostility between the coven and another faction. My card. And essentially, like, this is also being blamed on witchcraft. At this point, Tamsin has moved her family. It is no longer safe to be living in plain view of the villagers and for everyone to know where I am. But that being said, I still do go to the black market, to the like market on the edge to get supplies, because it's the one place there's like a tacit truce there that no matter what is going on with the state, no one is going to narc, essentially.
Yeah.
But I go, and I think people are still giving me a very wide and wary berth after my display at my own failed execution. And I am being very stubborn and not allowing Artemisia to go to the market because I don't want to chance him getting hurt. And I overhear someone making some snide comment about this like liquor and how like the witches can't leave anything alone. And without looking at them, I snap my fingers and that person's lips are like glued shut. They can't.
Yeah.
And then I take my bread and I go home.
Yeah. Charlie, what do you do?
I think I make a humble offer, which is rejected. I think that I go speak to like to Seeple and like arrange a meeting with the All Hands that I've pled with before. And I think I have a thing with the All Hands where I'm just like, what is this? What is the point of this? Like we have no animosity towards you. You've kidnapped people, you've like taken things from us, but we know that you have your own means. We are trying to like fight a war against autocrat gentle. We don't need this crazy thing going on right now. And I make an offer to like, if I give you something, can you, and it's rejected out of hand.
Yeah.
I think also this is maybe the first time that I reach out to Tamsin after the whole bread thing. I think that there's just like a little missive I send when you move your home. I send a housewarming gift that is a lovely like olive wood, like with dark and light grain, like the patterns of the grains are really beautiful, and a rolling pin and a small letter that doesn't say all the deep things that need to be said and is instead like, can you believe the first thing that happened after we declared witch war was that a crazy goblin liquor took over the island? What the fuck is, and it's a very different tone. It's like a little bit of Minerva has rubbed off on Charlie, where she's gotten like scathing. She's like, this is the fucking wildest shit to happen day one of the witch war. This is the shit we got to deal with.
Minerva still has contacts with the sort of secret underground layers of people who still serve the Serpentine that was, and among those communities that sort of exist as this weird like, we support like we are not pro witch, but we are pro Serpentine, and you are Serpentine, and like the autocrat was kind of to blame, so we are kind of more on the witches' side of the witch war. And Minerva kind of gets them and organizes them to cut off the alcohol and to cut that off and to just keep it from spreading, to deal with it, to throw bottles of it into the ocean.
Hell yeah.
And that is how Minerva deals with it.
Nice.
And that's kind of burns up all their goodwill, but that works. Our next card is the Ten of Swords, which I would like to note is going to take 39 to deal with through wisdom.
Oh my god, why did I even bother trying to get wisdom? Dang.
Well,
right.
no, we will need wisdom at the very end after we burn through the deck, because there's one final challenge we face. Yeah.
Magician.
Ten of Swords. That's me.
That's you.
And an angry mob has unexpectedly surrounded the sanctuary and
There sure has.
And will soon breach the threshold if we do not act. The old soul will tell us the mob's grievances, and the pure heart will tell us whose face we are surprised to recognize among the crowd. How will our home survive this assault?
This is not a mob of the conventional sense. This is a militia. This is a military, and they are here for a clear and obvious reason. It is the goddamn witch war. They are here to throw us the fucking jail, if we're lucky, or throw at the very least either Charlie or Tamsin.
Oh my god. Okay.
Tamsin, sorry, Charlie. Whose face are we surprised to recognize?
If I was a real motherfucker, I would say Jax, but I'm not.
That's what I
No, say it. Say Jax. Say Jax. We know it's Jax.
I knew it.
I hate to do this, but we know it's Jax.
We know it's Jax. We know Jax has come back as like a sailor with, Odysseus energy and.
Yeah.
I'm gonna solve this. I got it. Okay. I'm at the sanctuary.
All right. I'm gonna follow you about it. I'm going to depart on mysterious business. When in doubt, depart.
Damn. I am. I'm gonna act impulsively, and because I don't want to be absent. That's always the thing.
I mean, you're already kind of physically absent. You're already like on another island.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is I don't think I'm on another island. I think I'm just at like a very treacherous part of the island that most people don't go to, but through witchcraft or constant maintenance of witchcraft. Tamsin has to keep the sea at bay, but like we have a home in a cave. However, I hear about this mob and I go rushing in because what I hear is like the sanctuary is going to fall, and I don't think. I just rush in. And I am not prepared. I haven't, I'm still drained from my display of wild magic before and from maintaining my home. And when I see the mob, I'm coming up behind them and I see Jax. I see his face and I call his name. And it's honestly sort of plaintive. It's hoping that he'll recognize me. And he does recognize me. And then I think I'm captured by the militia. I think it's just like one of those things where I just miscalculate. I think Jax's sentimentality is going to have him help me, but instead he stays loyal to the state.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so does Jax lay hands on you when he captures you?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you what happens next. The town around this sanctuary, the shop front was shuttered ages ago. People in this town knew that it was not safe to live here anymore. The last people left a long time ago. There's just a withered old ghost town here where the observatory tower with eagles perched all over it. I haven't cooped the eagles in forever. They're half feral at this point. Seeple comes by. Doc is our friend, but she's in the underworld now. It's just been me and Charlotte and these birds for a long time. There are no living spaces in the tower. It has been years since we had shelter for the lost. There is nothing here. So the tramp of boots, I can hear from the moment they leave their ships. There are no souls left in this town. And when Jax and his sailors put their hands on Tamsin, there is nothing subtle about what happens next. Sailors are flung through the air by wind. Their limbs are torn apart. Blood spills in the street. They are flung aside like dolls. And those that make it away and get to shelter where the wind can't reach them find the force of gravity reversed and those homes flung into the sky as if by the hands of angry gods. Jax is left alive so that I can tell him to his face that he will never find safe harbor, and if he ever sleeps in the same spot twice, he will not wake when the sun arises, and banish him from this place. I am no longer healthy. Tamsin, you're safe.
Tamsin, yeah. Tamsin, which folly did you make? Do you get 2 cards or?
Yeah, I get 2 cards.
Yeah. Grab them.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God.
You, that was fucking gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Our next card is the Knight of Wands. Maybe I will make this by 30. Cool. The Knight of Wands is Magician.
All right.
Wow! Oh my God.
Take it away. What the fuck? All right. An agent of the underworld has stolen my body and is doing such a good job of impersonating me that you might never have noticed. Each of you tell me what tipped you off that I wasn't myself, and I'll tell you how long I've been floating around helplessly watching. How do we get my body back? If we solve this challenge with wisdom, I may recover a stricken source, but not a blackened one.
I did not notice until I was not invited to your older child's 11th birthday.
Yeah.
I
think I've invited you to every birthday since
yes.
Birthday.
Yeah. Or like maybe there's just like it was like maybe even like the 11th is like an especially important one, but like there's just been
I think I noticed because normally I think I noticed because I was sending you a message about how like the war against Autocrat Gentle's forces were going, and the Osprey that delivered those messages stopped knowing where to go, and I had to scry and explain it to them, and I was like, oh, the birds know something I don't, and that's how I put it together.
That's really good. I think that I have been losing myself, and this shadow self has become more and more solid and more like me. And I think that I've actually been watching for the last 3 years. I think at this point I am in my late 30s, and I have missed several of my children's birthdays. I think Artemisia maybe got sick and then was recovered, and like all of that caretaking I missed. I think the war has dragged on and has struck the country into like deep despair and poverty, and I've been able to help in any way because I'm floating around as my own ghost.
Jesus.
Okay. Oh my God, that's horrifying. So this is 3, right? This gets
+3 to it. So it would be, in order to solve it with wisdom, we would need 45 total. And remember, we will need wisdom after this also. So
I do not have 40.
I think we solve this with true magic, or we don't solve this, is the vibe I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I think I would be down to solve this with true magic. Part of me is interested in failing this, but that's just me.
I'm gonna leave
I feel like maybe we should. I don't know.
I'm gonna leave that to. I'm gonna leave that to Minerva. I think I've gone far enough wicked that my folly I play here is I imperil myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna just go handle this myself and then go to the underworld and get my ass kicked, and I'm like injured. Are there any cards left?
There's 1 card left.
Oh yeah. There's 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be my folly, and I will take that as wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm physically absent for this, which actually is so literal.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. So I can't do a folly. I can't do anything, right?
No, you can still
I
do
can?
things. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Physically absent just means like narratively.
Okay, but there's no more cards to take, so that doesn't.
So maybe learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. I think what I will say is I previously would have railed, and I think I did initially just rail against what's happening, and then I realized that maybe in the last the last year, I've sort of started turning into a ghost. I can't do anything, and so I vacillate between these moments of just like sheer helplessness and despair. But then they're always laced through with a moment of just noticing something around me. Maybe at some point while I'm trying to get Artemisia's attention, or I find one of you, but neither of you will look at me. I like look behind you and I see that like the sunlight coming through the cypress grove is just so breathtakingly beautiful. Or I'm in the water and the water's not touching me, it's going right through me. But because it's going right through me, I can see all the little silver fish swimming through my feet. And there's just these little moments of beauty where I realize that I can't do anything, but I'm here. And I'm going to take back fighting for myself.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
I was wondering if you were gonna go back to being afraid, but yeah, that makes sense too. I am. Oh God, I really am in a spot. So I need to take a moment to figure out like where Minerva's at, because we've kind of like Minerva's kind of gotten like a little lost in like the neutrality. I think where they're at is very much like they're trying to quell the war, like, and sort of operate from that very big picture perspective they've been really comfortable with for a really long time. But it is not working. They do not have the power. They do not have the coven. Autocrat Gentle has effectively got them under house arrest. They are not really able to control anything, and they are mainly being used as like a good witch, like, hey, look, we've got a good witch, on our side. And I think that I am going to solve this with. I think I am going to learn from the past, but not solve it. I will never again depart on mysterious business.
Hell yeah.
Worth it?
Worth it? I see the value in my. No, I do not see the value in myself. Actually, no, I do solve this, but I do solve this. I do solve this. I am going to solve this. I think I know what I have to do. I will never again see the value in myself. I think it's the key thing. I'm going to blacken out myself. I see the value in tangling dusty thing. I see the value in myself and in centipedes.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah. And I think what happens is that because I'm under house arrest, I'm under arrest in this beautiful house, like that, like has an observatory and has everything I need. But instead of looking at the stars, I get more and more obsessed with the little skittering bugs. And the bugs have been telling me their futures that they've been seeing. And one day, one of them describes to me that it traveled all the way here. The information traveled all the way across the sea. And I learned of the situation you're in. And I told the bug, I whispered into its ear, I told the centipede what it needed to do in order to set you free. And the centipede went and found a rat, and the rat went and told the dove, and the dove went and told an osprey, and the osprey went and told an ancient god of the ocean, and the ancient god of the ocean went and told it to your husband. And your husband was the one who rescued you.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so now we have finished up the deck. What that means is the last. Let me just make sure I'm doing this all correctly. I'm going to pull up the rules real quick. So we are in the finale. The last challenge in the challenge deck is resolved. It's time for us to each flip the last card in our inevitable fates. So we are going to find out what our final fate is. So let's all get these other cards out of the way. out of here.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
I
Should I
got
flip it? You got judge.
Yeah, flip it. So mine is
Death!
Oh shit, mine's the tower.
Oh
No, for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, know that I've drawn the tower 9 times in the past 11 times I have read tarot for myself. So this is especially brutal. All right. So we start with whoever drew judgment goes first and determines the fate of the kingdom, and that is the interpretation guide. So it's the very last page. So whoever drew judgment is going to determine the fate of the kingdom.
Fuck, I think it crumbles.
No. It tells us it's got mechanics. It's got mechanics.
Oh, it's got mechanics. I'm sorry. Okay.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, that's why I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are the mechanics?
They're in the interpretation guide. They're under inevitable fates.
Okay.
Yes, they are all the way in the back there.
My bad. Inevitable.
No worries. They might crumble anyway. Let's see what happens.
Kingdom catastrophe. Wait. Where in the underworld?
It is page 28.
In the interpretation guide, right?
In the interpretation guide, yeah.
Okay, here we go. All the way in the back. That's exactly what. Okay. The kingdom's leaders are finally coming to blows, fangs bared and claws bloody. The player to my right, that's you, Jamie, will tell us what the final straw was, and the player to my left, that's you, Brennan, will tell us what horrors will befall the kingdom. Excuse me, if I do not intervene. This challenge takes 20 wisdom to solve, plus another wisdom for each point of ignorance, poverty, and despair, plus another 10 wisdom if the kingdom is at war. If I solve the challenge with wisdom, I'll tell you how I save the kingdom and what its future holds. If I can't, doom comes to the mortal world. Well,
so only Jeeyon can solve this with wisdom?
Only Jeeyon can solve this with wisdom.
I don't know what to tell you guys. I have so many small cards in my hand.
Also, this would take 45 wisdom to solve.
God fucking damn it. Well, here's what I got. I've got an Ace of Wands, a 2 of Cups, a 5 of Swords, a 9 of Wands, a 9 of Cups, a Page of Cups, a Knight of Cups. I'm not great at math.
That's not enough.
No, wait. Okay, hold on. Run me that math one more time. Let's actually tabulate this.
Start from the top, though. Start from the higher one.
And a Knight of Cups.
So a Knight is 12, right?
Yes.
Yep, 12. And then a Page of Cups, which is 11, right?
Yeah.
2 9s.
Oh.
Oh wait. 5 of Swords.
Wait, and then a 5 of Swords.
2 of Cups, and then an Ace. I have 49.
You have 49.
Wow. So let's just explain what the bad thing is. The player to your right will tell us what the final straw was. The final straw was obviously and clearly the Witches' War devolved everything into brutal and bloody chaos. And what horrors will befall the kingdom, Brennan?
Oh, Polyphena is the name of the champion, right?
Yeah, so it's the witch hunter and the autocrat who are.
Oh well, Polyphena discovered that Tamsin was married to a god, and that became the basis for a crusade. Not only will all magic in the archipelago, magic won't be wiped out, but any human being that ever shows a proficiency at it will forever. And the way they'll find them is they will take Artemisia, drag him to the capital, and use his blood forever, keeping him bound to find any child born with magical ability. That's what happens if we fail.
I mean, cool, great, awesome.
No, wait. Do we have this right? Because it's 20 wisdom plus another for each point of ignorance, poverty, and despair. How much ignorance, poverty, and despair?
We have 5 total.
That's 25 plus another 10, which is. So this only
we are at war with 2. We are at war at 2 fronts.
45. Fuck.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
49.
God damn, that fucking slaps.
Thank you, Brennan, for telling me to actually do the math. I'm so
that was just. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, no way, but
you gotta crunch the numbers, baby. Yeah. You gotta crunch them.
So Jeeyon, how do you solve this?
I just want to take a moment to shout out M. Grant for putting numbers in a feelings game. I just want to say
thank you, M. Thank you, M. Veselak. Yeah.
Oh, I woke him up.
The crunchiest fucking feelings game.
This is the first time in my life I've been so grateful to crunch numbers in a game. It's just like, thank you, M.
Thank you, M.
So I think the way that oh God, how the fuck do I solve this? This is my family. Polyphena has also miscalculated. Artemisia is a mortal now. She thinks that if Artemisia's blood is the one that is replenished and drained constantly, then the kingdom will be able to track its magic, but it's not him. It's Coleman. It's my son.
Yeah.
He's the god. So she doesn't know. She hasn't realized that actually the god is Coleman. How fucking heartbreaking do I want to make this?
Be brutal, be brutal.
I think that there's no way, like, I can do true magic, right? I could call the sea and the land and everything that came before them down on this kingdom, but everyone would die. Everyone. Maybe the three of us might survive, maybe my family might survive, but everyone else would die. And there's a part of me that just doesn't want to see that. And Artemisia and I think we take we realize that our days are numbered, and I think we take the children onto a boat to like a little sandbar that like has a lot of growth on it, and we go camping for 3 days and 3 nights, and we have a really lovely time. We savor every moment, and when we get back, the militia's already on the shore waiting for us, and I manage to escape with the children, and Artemisia hands himself over
Oh my
to
god.
Polyphena's army. There is no way that Autocrat Gentle will be able to ever find anyone with magic if they try to use Artemisia's blood. There's no way.
Oh
And
my god.
I think that I give Coleman, I think Charlie, you hear a frantic knocking on the sanctuary door one day, and when you open it, I'm there with my 2 children, and I ask you to take them.
Oh.
Charlie wordlessly understands everything that's happened, looks at the 2 children, and for the first time in how old is Coleman at this point?
I think Coleman is now almost 10 years old.
For the first time in a decade, Charlie looks at a sweet little person and goes, "Are you hungry? Can I get you something to eat?"
Oh.
And looks at you and says, "No harm will come to your children. None at all."
We share one last meal together. It's probably pretty humble. I think it's a beautiful day, and I think that we eat it outside. I think after we're done, we actually eat until we're sated, and we're all pretty full. And I think I kiss my 2 children and tell them that I love them very much. And I think, Charlie, I give you a long, warm hug. And then I summon my sword and I cut a seam into the world, and I go back to save my husband. And I'm going to draw the curtain. Whatever happens after that happens.
Yeah, sounds good. So,
Ooh.
Brennan, you got death.
Death. The underworld is out of balance, its denizens amok, and its menace bubbling up into the mortal world above. I must travel there and set things right. The player to my left, which is Jamie, will tell us how the barrier between worlds has changed. And the player to my right, which is Jeeyon, will tell us what surprise the ruler of that place has in store for me.
The barrier between worlds has changed because it was once a mirror, and it was once a like this solemn, quiet reflection of the world above. But the world above has turned into bloodshed and war and violence and ignorance, and so the underworld has become a violent, horrible, monstrous place where like it is every step you take, there are these thorns and these claws, and there's just monstrosity, and the air smells of blood, and so many bodies are building up faster than they can be assimilated into the all hands.
Ooh.
What surprise?
What surprise does the ruler of this place have in store for me?
One night in a dream, you sit up and it seems like you're in your bed, except that there is a thin, soft, spongy layer of fungus on every surface of your room. It's covered your skin, it's in your hair, and so you can hear the whisper clear as day that tells you that you are the ascendant to the throne of the underworld, should you choose to sit upon it. And the all hands is offering to take you in, not as a soul, not as a dead, but as its heir.
This challenge takes 20 wisdom to solve, plus 5 for every source Brennan has struck or blackened.
I struck so many sources.
You actually, in fact, I was just tallying this. I believe you struck a total of 5. So that is another 25. So it'll take 45 wisdom to solve once again.
Okay, but like count them because I had them. Maybe.
Can we go back to the grid that has my? Oh, no, I have them right here. Hold on. I got them right here.
You actually, I think you super do because you've got a bunch of high value cards.
Oh, baby. Watch this. Okay. We need 45?
45.
Okay. So there's okay. There's 13, 26, 39, 45. There it is, baby.
There we go.
Okay.
It has been solved. So how did you restore the natural order once and for all, and did you return unscathed?
Can I ask? I want to ask the all hands why? Why me? And why do you need an heir?
I think it says this is your crossroads. You can choose whether you want to stumble back into being a shadow of the person that you once thought you were, or you can become fodder for the end and beginning of all things.
Can we flip back to the play grid real quick? Because there's something I want to do, and I want to check one thing.
Yeah,
but that's
yeah. Let me drag you on over. Boop.
The thing we learned that was the strength of the weakness was fire from the sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the strength was it will never end. So I look at the all hands, and I say, you are asking now for an heir. Your lands are bloodied as they are a reflection of the world above. This place is a realm of mirrors. And as such, you have asked me to become your heir. It is, and I say this with all respect, a most elegant trap you have laid. Because had I never heeded the words of my coven mates, I would believe that you would one day come to an end and I would have your throne. What you have offered me is to kneel at the foot of your throne for eternity. And if a realm of mirrors is what this place is, then let it reflect the world above. I use my air magic to part the storm clouds, reveal the bright sun above, and let it shine off of every mirror in the underworld and flood this place with sunlight.
God, damn.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yes.
All right. The last moment, the tower. Charlie, will we live together in the sanctuary forever?
No,
yes or no?
We won't.
Do we have anything left to teach each other?
To me?
Yes, to Charlie. Do we have anything left to teach each other?
So much, yes.
Charlie, is there more left to our story?
Yeah, but it's nobody's business.
Charlie, do you love me?
I love you more than anything, Minerva.
Tamsin, will we live together in the sanctuary forever?
No, never again.
Tamsin, do we have anything left to teach each other?
Absolutely, forever.
Is there more left to our story?
It's endless. Do
you love me?
Yes, I do.
This takes 10 wisdom to solve then, which I can just do. And if I solve this challenge, I'll tell you how the sanctuary continues on with or without us, and how our wisdom and magic passes on to its new coven. So I think I wanna kind of have the end credits scene, right? Like as the credits are rolling, there is Charlie sitting there, a very old lady, like who has like made some bread, and then there is Juniper and Autocrat Gentle's daughter, and the two of them are Autocrat Gentle's daughter, who I'm just gonna pull up the name of real quick.
Yarrow.
For the Yarrow. Yarrow is older and is wearing like a shoulder plate with some armor and like a cool fencing sword, and like has clearly like been battle hardened from the like war that has happened. And Juniper is a younger kid, is like, you know, is the bright-eyed pure heart who has never seen true loss, and like who's never like understood true loss and has not yet learned what her parents have given up. And Charlie is teaching the two of them the ways of the witches of old. Yeah, that's the end credits moment. And like you zoom out more, and like the sanctuary has been repaired, and like there's the ospreys are like flocking again, and like what do you call it? Camden is kind of like learning how to be a god, and is like studying like at his mother's old shrine. And it's just kind of like that zoom out, and like even though there was this war, even though there was this heartbreak, the coven is still around.
I love that so much.
So good.
So that's Wickedness, everyone. Thank you so much. That was Wickedness. Those are the 3 acts of Wickedness. That is what it is to play through decades of the stories of a coven of witches. Please go check out Wickedness on Kickstarter at bit.ly/wickednessks. I'm going to write that down because I said that before I saved the bit.ly. And please go and check it out. Thank you so much.
I love this. This is so good.
So good. What an incredible
beautiful story. I love our characters so much.
I love our characters so much.
I love them so much. This was so much fun. What the hell?
What the hell? Jesus Christ.
What a story. My God.
I also really appreciate both the like beautifully gentle and compassionate hand we all had around the safety and like checking in with each other and being willing to recalibrate, and at the same time being like, hey, how heartbreaking can I make this? And everyone else would just be like, fucking go for it, like roll into the wall.
We know it's Jax. Yeah, Jesus.
But like that can only happen if you feel really good about who you're playing with. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for all of the heartbreak.
Thank you.
This was so wonderful.
This was amazing.
Thank you, Jamie, for leading us by the hand through this too. This is
absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so unbelievably excited for this, and it's such a goddamn cool project to be a part of. So
love it.
Take care, both of you, and for everyone else, Backslash on Kickstarter. See you around. Take care.
Bye. Much love. Bye.
All right. Boom.